Chairman of the National Committee on Corporate Governance, Mr. Juan Carlos Fernandez-Zara, Chief Executive Officer, Mauritius Institute of Directors, Permanent Secretaries, distinguished guests, members of the press, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. I have the immense pleasure of welcoming you to the launching of a new Code of Corporate Governance 2016. The Code of Corporate Governance for Mauritius was first published in 2003, and since then it has been acclaimed by both the national and international business community for its governance evaluation. However, the Code is now over 12 years old. The 2014 survey conducted by the NCCG, National Committee of Corporate Governance, in the course of consultations for revisions to the Code, revealed that all respondents from PIEs, public interest entities, had used the Code in their accounting and auditing activities with satisfaction. The Code recognizes that scandals arising from poor governance that impact upon PIEs should primarily be dealt with by legislation. Revising the Code was essential with regards to new laws and guidelines and to identify and apply international best practices. The development of this new Code was led by Dr. Chris Pierce, a governance expert with vast worldwide experience in leading governance reforms. It should be noted that Dr. Pierce has conducted a number of board evaluations and corporate governance assessments of major institutions around the world. Under the leadership of Tim Taylor, chairperson of the NCCG until 2015, 5 task committees were set up, providing oversight and advice to Dr. Pierce during the consultations. This new Code comprises a set of principles and guidance aimed at improving and guiding the governance practices of organizations within Mauritius. The main changes brought to the Code are from a comply and explain approach to a more flexible apply and explain methodology. The new Code contains a generic guidance plus 6 separate guidances. The new Code, which is principles-based, includes the following 8 core principles. Principle 1, governance structure. Principle 2, the structure of the board and its committees. Principle 3, director appointment procedures. Principle 4, director duties, remuneration and performance. Principle 5, risk governance and internal control. Principle 6, reporting with integrity. Principle 7, audit. And Principle 8, relations with shareholders and other key stakeholders. The purpose of corporate governance is to facilitate effective entrepreneurial and prudent management that can deliver the long-term success of an organization. This Code conceives corporate governance as an organizational framework of processes and attitudes that focuses on long-term continuity and success to add value to the organization and build its reputation. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now move to our first speaker for today's launching ceremony. I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Juan Carlos Fernandez-Zara, an expert in corporate governance with over 10 years of international experience in the field, having worked in Asia, Europe, and the Americas. A corporate lawyer and holder of an MBA, Mr. Juan Carlos was previously corporate governance lead at the Inter-American Development Bank in the USA. He performed corporate governance assessments for a large number of companies, which included reviewing practices to identify weaknesses and areas of improvement. The MIOD, Mauritius Institute of Directors, has a vision to be the preferred professional organization for directors and aspiring directors, as well as business leaders and young professionals, providing a forum to learn, share, and develop. As CEO, Mr. Juan Carlos has contributed to the achievement of the MIOD's objectives and long-term sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to invite on stage Mr. Juan Carlos Fernandez-Zara, CEO, Mauritius Institute of Directors. Thank you.
Corporate governance, members of the NCCG, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Financial Services, Good Governance and Institutional Reforms, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to be here today, and I thank the Ministry for having called us on and giving us the opportunity to be part of the launching of this code, which we believe will add a lot of value to the visibility of Mauritius as an economy and for international investors as well. I'm going to give you a very quick presentation on the major changes brought in by the new codes of 2016. The code contains a set of definitions, so I don't want to go above them, but if we look at corporate governance, the key point is corporate governance touches upon the relationship between shareholders, owners, be them public entities, government or private institutional investors, owners of companies, the board of directors and the executives, the management. And the idea is to ensure that interests are aligned, that everyone is working together for the interest of the company, the shareholders, and at the end of the day, it is built on the belief and experience that when companies perform well in a transparent and well-structured manner following corporate governance principles, the economy enjoys as well and can grow. The contrary is also valid. Companies performing poorly affect negatively the economy of a country. Now, the Corporate Governance Code is not a new law. It's not a rule. It is a code. It has principles. It is mandatory to the point that a certain set of companies, and I'll talk about it in 1 second, have to apply to it, have to comply. But it does not replace laws. If we compare the code of 2003 with the code of today, and it has been said before, the main difference, if one looks at it, is it goes from apply or explain to apply and explain. And the difference is subtle, it's just one word, but it has deep implications. Because in a code that has apply or explain approach, you can choose to either apply the principles, or if you deviate from them, then you explain why you deviated and what you've done. But you don't need to explain on all the principles. While here, the difference in the apply and explain is that you have a set of given principles that are general and broad, and what you have to do as a company is apply each of them and then explain to your stakeholders how you've done to apply each of the principles. And I believe it will be a very positive challenge for companies, because it will go from a more formalistic approach, if you want more of a tick the box exercise, towards a deeper approach, really hands-on on improving corporate governance beyond the surface. I mean, this is at least the intention of the code as it was drafted by Dr. Chris Pierce under the auspices of the NCCG. The new code deviates as well in the sense that the code of 2003 had 27 pages, was a combination of sections, 9 with explanations, and the new code has 8 principles, which when you look at it, fits in 2 pages. Then you have supporting guidances for each type of the companies, and this is where you will see the depth of each of the principles as they are intended. One of the changes that has happened since last year is the new definition of public interest entities, which are the main target audience, if you want, of the code. And as you can see, some of the thresholds have changed. So that means less companies are concerned by the codes in the mandatory application of it. However, as the code encourages as well all companies to abide to it, or at least to the relevant principles, we at MIOD also encourage all companies to look at it even if you're not a PEI according to this definition. So as it has been mentioned, there's 8 principles. The structure of the code is that you have generic guidance in general, and then you have specific guidance for the types of companies that are mentioned here. You have an appendix with exemplars, and the way it is suggested in the code is that companies need to explain in their annual reports as well as their websites on how they have applied the codes. The guidance, again, is a guidance, and companies are encouraged to use it when they deviate, to explain the deviation, the material deviation from the guidance, so they can use it as an inspiration to show to their stakeholders through the annual report on the website how they deviated from it, and they need to be open for positive challenge from shareholders and regulators. The FRC will review and will receive the explanations from companies on how they apply and comply with the codes. As I've been saying, the code is not intended to be a tick the box. So over time, we hope that companies will follow this approach where they realize they have all to gain to show through their annual website, through their website and their annual report how they really embrace the principles contained in the code. Because this will really show not only to investors in Mauritius, but also investors abroad, how they see corporate governance, how they see the structure around it, and how they want to be seen by external stakeholders. The principles, I don't need to go in detail, but basically the key thing on board effectiveness, it's really this dynamic of, for companies to consider who you appoint as a board member, what kind of competencies you need. It's the entire aspect of independence, the notion of independence, what do independent board members add to the board, the discussion, all this for the benefit not only of shareholders, but also in their interaction with the executives. The board and committees, the code provides some advice and recommendations on the committees that you need to have. The whole idea being that when you have a committee, you want to bring, to offload the work to the board, from the board to specific committees so they can spend more time and go deeper in the problematics that you want to analyze. The appointment procedures, the intention here is to ensure that there is a transparent and fair appointment process. There is also the notion of removal of board members. Duties, remuneration, performance. Key elements are the element of risk governance and internal controls. Companies need to ensure that the entire system within the company can provide accuracy to the board, to the executives, so that we ensure that the communication that is done not only to regulators, to the authorities, but also to shareholders and stakeholders is accurate, true and fair, which also goes with Principle 6 on reporting with integrity. Audit, it is recommended for companies to have an internal audit function. It is also a point to ensure that the external auditor is also independent. And then there's the relation with stakeholders and other key stakeholders, shareholders and stakeholders. There's more information on the NCCG website, and us, the MIOD, we will launch a series of trainings, of public raising awareness events. When I feel better, I need to apologize. I look a bit messy because I just had a massive ear infection that didn't let me sleep all of last night. And, but I wanted to be here today to launch the code. But I promise that when we're going to launch the trainings, I mean, we'll be in better shape at the MIOD. But we will launch upcoming soon trainings, not only for individual companies, but also general public, because we see this code as a public good. Again, not only for public interest entities and for companies that need to abide to it, but we believe that if all companies at least take the essence of those principles, the overall economy will benefit. One last thing I forgot to mention is the code will start its implementation as of July 1st, 2000. 2017, and companies will need to report on the financial year ending 30th of June 2018. So there's still time, but every country that launched a code knows, and the private sector knows as well, you shouldn't wait the last day, because some of the changes brought in by the new code are deep, specifically because of the new approach, and therefore we recommend that you stop looking at it, that you stop raising awareness of your board, of your executives, and then that you stop looking at what you will require to do in order to be ready for 2018. Thank you very much.
Good governance and institutional reforms. Mr. Juan Carlos Fernandez-Sarra, Chief Executive Officer of Maurice Institute of Directors, permanent secretaries, members of the National Committee on Corporate Governance, distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for the official launch of a new National Code of Corporate Governance. Nowadays, there is common consensus, be it in the corporate world or in the public in general, that corporate governance is becoming a vital component for the good running of companies in both private and public sectors. On one side, demonstration has been made that the lack thereof had led to serious consequences to individuals, companies as a whole, or sometimes entire nations. On the other, there is increasing empirical evidence that adopting good corporate governance practices improve the financial performance. Corporate governance is also an attraction factor and an added value creator for the corporate world, and values such as integrity and transparency, which are now considered desirable by investors and motivate their choices. McKinsey, in 2000, surveyed 200 institutional investors in Asia. And guess what? 89% reported that they would pay more for a share of a well-governed company with comparable financial performance. Good governance is about enhancing shareholders' value. It's also about protection of minority shareholders and investors. And it's about enhancing the competitive edge, not just of individual companies, but also of a nation as a whole. As the process of globalization continues to bring the world closer together. Of course, one size does not fit all. In light of our consultations, and also because of companies' heterogeneity, it was decided to investigate the governance behavior in a flexible regulatory regime in which companies can make different governance choices reacting as per their specificity. As much as there are some mandatory disclosures, our approach is based on the assumption that a firm that does not comply with certain clauses but identifies specific circumstances justifying departures from best practices is no less well-governed than a company which is fully compliant. This allows for a level of flexibility that will, we hope, entice all stakeholders to engage in this process. I must add that enhancing corporate governance is not the sole responsibility of a National Corporate Governance Committee, the MIOD, or the regulators. It cannot be. It is a shared responsibility among the government, the regulatory bodies, professional standard setters, corporate leaders, board members, company secretaries, most importantly, the investors and the shareholders themselves. Our new code of governance is another beginning. It provides a comprehensive action plan and identifies the various paths that we must take in order to move ahead. The next crucial stage will be the timely and effective implementation of a recommendation. Good governance brings benefit to all parties, and so it's only right that all must share the responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, our country has come a long way. There is still a lot to achieve in terms of governance, but we, as Mauritians, can be proud that in 2017, all stakeholders have an understanding of the practices of principle and good governance and recognize their necessity. Once again, on behalf of NCCG, I would like to thank all those who made this new code possible. The members of my board, thank you to be here. The whole team at the ministry, you can see them all around. I must say they did a great job. Yeah. Dr. Chris Pierce for his diligent work and commitment to have this new code out. And obviously all those who were part of the subcommittee for their valuable input. And also thank you, Mr. Minister, for supporting this initiative. So thank you. I'll really want the whole business community, private companies, public sectors to really apply and explain. We've given a lot of flexibility. It's quite a departure from a whole code. Now it's about for us to make it happen, and I'm pretty sure that everybody will play ball with this new code. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Of the National Committee on Corporate Governance, permanent secretaries, distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to be among you today for the launch of the Code of Corporate Governance 2016. Let me start by thanking Honorable Address for his welcome address and Juan Carlos Fernandez Zara for an insightful overview of the salient changes that the code will bring to the corporate world. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to be among you for today's milestone event on a theme which I hold very much at heart, the governance of corporations. We mark by our very presence here the change about to take place on the governance front. Ladies and gentlemen, the code was first issued way back in October 2003. It is held in high regard by both the national and the international business community. But the code has served its time. Mauritius has year after year continuously ranked first in Africa for governance according to the Mo Ibrahim Index. Despite this accolade, our strong reputation can only be maintained and galvanized if government and businesses regularly review and upgrade governance standards. I believe that all nations stand to gain by improving the way their businesses are run. You should have heard that even the most advanced economies are continuously discussing, interrogating, and working towards better practices. UK's new Prime Minister, Theresa May, launched a national debate on corporate governance as soon as she took office. After my long experience in the accountancy profession, the financial services sector, I believe that the time has come to stand out on how we want to govern and lead ourselves and our businesses. A new system of governance, ladies and gentlemen, that is open to innovation, competition, and self-improvement. The code is based on the principles of accountability, transparency, and probity, with focus on sustainable success of corporates over the long term. The code provides essential building blocks for a stable economy. It provides the right guidelines for businesses consistent with best international practices while tailored to local specificities. It aims at enhancing governance systems within corporations. It intends to strengthen transparency, accountability, and efficiency in the economy, thereby culminating in greater trust, confidence in the system, with enhanced investment opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, the governance of corporation forms an integral part of our people's well-being. The code is not just for the business world. It is a code for everyone. Proper governance inspires confidence amongst investors, loyalty among employees, and trust among customers. Governance involves a full set of relationships from shareholders to employees and the communities they serve. The code strengthens the principles of corporate social responsibility and the fact that corporations should be actively working the triple bottom line. Major financial challenges and corporate misgovernance have traumatized the world and have prompted leaders to rethink current models of governing businesses. It is today acknowledged that value creation is a balance between earning wealth and doing public good, with increasing recognition that combining profitability and responsibility is the way to a sustainable future. Governance means a way of healthy living for long-term value creation and economic growth. With this code, I see organizations taking a more important role as trustee of economic and social progress. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to corporate governance, more often than not, boards tend to concentrate efforts on matters surrounding compliance and regulation. Indeed, laws, regulations, and codes promote good behavior and deter bad behavior. But we cannot rely only on regulation and compliance. Good governance also involves inculcation of values, morals, and ethics as part of the corporate culture. In the end, it is all about character. Character cannot be instilled by regulation or law. It is built by meeting life with honesty and respect. Integrity lies at the heart of a progressive nation. According to Mervyn King, chairman of the King Report, good corporate governance is about intellectual honesty and not just sticking to rules and regulations. He adds that capital flowed towards companies that practice this type of good governance. Ladies and gentlemen, I now wish to talk to you about the underlying principle which keeps our economy going. Trust. Businesses run on trust. It takes years to build trust, but that same trust can be lost in an instant. As an international financial center, our focus on corporate governance comes as no surprise to rebuilding trust and confidence. We want the population, investors, and the world to know that Mauritius is a safe and trustworthy business place. High standards are absolutely crucial for attracting and instilling confidence in investors. After all, the success story of Singapore is trust on the Singapore brand. Throughout my mandate, I would wish the industry to join hands with my ministry to promote a Mauritius brand where investors will have a feeling of reliability, security, and clean governance. A brand that will give expectation of high standards. Moreover, in collaboration with the FSC, my ministry will do its best to protect those who cannot protect themselves. I'm referring to the small investors who invest their hard earnings in corporate because they have trust in the way the business is managed. Possibly, they may not have the kind of financial advice or information required before taking informed decisions. These small investors are the future of the country. It is both the responsibility of the government and the private sector to nurture the confidence of this particular group of investors and to protect the genuine interests. I have every intention of taking this agenda forward, starting with financial literacy initiatives. The FSC and the Financial Services Institute will be conducting awareness campaigns across Mauritius on the Code, on its rationale and objectives. Training programs will also be offered to industry professionals to ensure appropriate understanding and implementation. During my mandate, I intend to place capacity building high on the agenda so that we are well set to compete on the international marketplace. Ladies and gentlemen, I see Mauritius as one big, high-connected corporation. We are not separate from each other. We constitute a whole. Our overarching goal are the same. I would wish to forge alliances with the industry. I believe in moving away from controls and work in partnerships. I stand committed to work with you as a partner and facilitator of progress. We need to work together to create a new model of involvement and engagement. Since I took office, I have spent much time to meet as many of you as possible and explain to you my determination to walk along with you in a spirit of collaboration and partnership, tuned to your needs and imperatives. Ladies and gentlemen, the contribution of the financial services sector to the economic development trajectory of the country is gaining traction. To keep the momentum going, it is critical for us, industry partners, to ensure that we are best equipped in strategizing for the future. I will do my very best for stakeholders, policymakers, and investors to have what is required to work together effectively to help achieve a realistic vision. I will soon be convening a first meeting with a reconstituted Financial Services Consultative Council. We shall be discussing strategies based on new pragmatic, action and results-oriented approach to accelerate the growth of this key pillar of the Mauritian economy. In closing, I wish to add that government, in its endeavor to provide an enabling environment, can only put in place a system. But it is ultimately for all of us to realize the importance and benefits of good governance practices. With its acceptance and adoption, I'm sure this code will help take Mauritius to the next level of economic development. We are determined to make Mauritius a good place to work and to carry out business, be it the private or the public sector, improving efficiency, ensuring accountability and transparency, fostering a culture of shared values, good governance, and accountable system is the formula for long-term success. The Code provides building blocks for a healthy, vibrant, and successful Mauritius. Last but not least, I wish to congratulate the Chairman and members of the National Committee on Corporate Governance for their invaluable contribution, their time, and their committed efforts in successfully drafting this new code. I also wish to place on record the valuable assistance of Dr. Chris Pierce, consultant enlisted by government on this project. Ladies and gentlemen, we are today laying the building blocks for our future generations. I thank you for your attention.